China's Deputy Premier Deng Xiaoping is reported to have written off any warming up of...
Good evening, Warwick Evans with TVB's News File. Motorists will pay more for their petrol with a 10% price hike.
Good evening, Nick Griffin with TVB.
Good evening. The world's longest-serving communist leader, Enver Hoxha, is dead at 76. The founder of the Albanian Communist...
Good evening. As you may have heard, the governor, Sir Edward Youde, is dead. He passed away in his sleep last night at the British ambassador's residence in Beijing. Sir Edward was to have returned to Hong Kong.
Tension remains in Beijing. Depositors queue outside Chinese banks to withdraw money. Another parade protesting the Beijing massacre. A rail disaster in the Soviet Union. And in Poland, Solidarity heads for a landslide victory in yesterday's election.
Good evening. The situation in Beijing remains unclear tonight. Reports say a group of leaders was escorted out of Zhongnan High, the party headquarters, by troops this morning. There were also reports that two different...
Another hitch for Thatcher. In Yugoslavia, poison victims. Not drunk at the helm. Verdict on Exxon captain. Fire rips through Kuntong squatter village. And the man who doesn't eat broccoli. Good evening. In Britain, the opposition Labour Party has dealt the ruling Conservatives a blow at the ballot box. A local parliamentary election in the Midland country of Staffordshire saw a swing of...
警方喺錦田圍捕疑匪，雙方駁火開咗40幾槍。警方話雖然要調人手維持集會遊行嘅秩序，但係實力冇受影響。演藝界人士今日大匯演籌款賑災。香港人嘅捐款送到江蘇省興化市。各位觀眾，警方今朝大規模出動喺元朗錦田搜捕一批涉及嚴重罪案。
Good evening. Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev has described U.S. President George...
各類存款利率下個禮拜又減半釐。中英機場高層會談今日喺北京舉行。港督今晚卸任離開香港。新聞嘅。
Police fired 19 shots in car chase, injuring one suspect. Local civil servants welcome holidaying governor with protests, and Taiwan rejects China's policy on reunification. Good evening. Police have opened fire on car thieves tonight in Kowloon Tong. One suspect is said...
China and the US clash over human rights. A liberal political party leader steps down. And Macau police swoop on a suspected male prostitution den. Good evening. Renewal of China's most favored nation trading status looks grim tonight following talks between the visiting...
Health authorities warn of outbreak of pesticide poisoning. China faces serious unemployment problem. And Prince Charles reported confessing to having had an extramarital affair. Good evening. 3 people were taken to hospital today for suspected food poisoning. It's believed they became ill after eating vegetables.
Princess Diana on the way to her final resting place. Millions say goodbye to the people's princess. And Mother Teresa, the saint of the gutters, is dead.
Good evening. The funeral of Diana, the Princess of Wales, has just taken place in London.
Good evening. President Jiang Zemin and his Portuguese counterpart Jorge Sampaio are meeting at this hour, the final hour of Portuguese rule in Macau.
馬來西亞禁止香港人去旅遊，港府表示遺憾。淘大花園居民即將返回住所，有許願樹歡迎。巴格達市中心嘅薩達姆銅像被美軍拉倒。各位新聞嘅詳細內容。第一次有國家因為非典型肺炎嘅疫情而收緊對本港居民嘅入境限制。入境處證實接獲馬來西亞嘅通知。
Good evening. New York's Twin Towers are enveloped in fire after being hit by 2 aircraft in less than 20 minutes.
$9,000 jobs on offer at a recruitment fair. Still no word on the chief executive's future. And the U.S. calls on China to reconsider its anti-secession law.
Good evening. 9,000 jobs were on offer today in what was billed as Hong Kong's largest ever recruitment fair. More than 30,000 job seekers attended. Government officials say...
Good evening. At least 6 people were killed and more than 200 injured after a 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck Japan today.
Lawmakers pass race discrimination bill. Woman drowns in Taipo during morning downpour. And Iran stages a second round of missile tests.
Good evening. The controversial race discrimination bill was passed by the Legislative Council this morning. It is designed to ensure equal rights for ethnic minorities in employment, schools, hospitals, and services.
People killed in collision near Lok Ma Chau. Temperature to 49 degrees tonight. And Obama orders closure of Guantanamo Bay prison camp.
Good evening.
Drink driving is in the spotlight again after 6 people were killed in a traffic accident near Lok Ma Chau. The victims were in a taxi which was crushed by a medium-sized lorry.
Landfill expansion proposals hit the rocks. Hong Kong demands answers from the U.S. over hacking allegations. And Julia Gillard ousted as Australia's Prime Minister.
Good evening. The government has shelved its plan to expand the Chung Kwan O landfill amid strong opposition from residents there. It also postponed the funding request for 2 other sites.
A middle-of-the-road fortune stick for Hong Kong. Huge crowds on hand for Lunar New Year fireworks show, and fears of violence grip Bangkok ahead of snap elections.
Good evening. It's a fortune stick that says the people of Hong Kong should not do bad things to harm the city. Retail figures drop, yet tourist numbers are going up. Another high-sea confrontation between China and Vietnam.
Brazil is a country that I would love to go in. I would love to live in Brazil.
Edward Snowden pondering his next move.
Good evening. April saw the biggest fall in retail figures in 5 years. A government spokesman said it's due partly to a drop in spending by tourists. Taiwan police rescue Hong Kong businessman Wang Quan from kidnappers. Beijing lodges a protest against a U.S. warship sailing close to a reef in the Spratlys. And pictures of an aggressive arrest of a black student in the United States.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the dramatic rescue of a Hong Kong businessman more than a month after he was kidnapped in Taiwan.
Two hikers located after being swept away in a flash flood. An interview with Lun Chung-ying on local politics. And the U.S. Defense Chief says China is erecting a Great Wall of self-isolation.
Good evening, and a lucky escape for two hikers today in the New Territories. They were swept away in a flash flood this afternoon. Hours later, they were located by rescue workers.
Zhang Dezhang warns everyone will have to pay the price should Hong Kong descend into chaos. Urgent investigation underway over Egypt air crash which left 66 dead. And Liverpool crash at the final hurdle in Europa League. Good evening, thanks for joining us. State leader Zhang Dezhang had a parting gift for Hong Kong as he wrapped up a 3-day visit to the territory. The National People's Congress chairman said everyone will have to foot the bill if